Hey, hello, Craig. Welcome.
Hi, you okay?
How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How's things?
Good, really good. You can see it's TVG, my favorite player ever.
Yeah, like mine too.
Yeah,
Lucky
amazing.
to have you.
Yeah. Yes. Hola, Tony, ¿qué tal? Hello, Tony. Yes, great. Let's wait for the other panelists to join. We still have time.
No problem. I'll just put the video off and then I'll
Thank you.
still be on.
Sure.
Hello.
Hola, Tony, ¿qué tal? ¿Bien?
Todo bien.
Todo bien. Wait, I'm just like fixing a few email to be sorted for other panelists. We still have time. We'll connect again.
Yoga, who's that?
David Bedia.
Okay. Give me a minute.
Hi, Ibtisam, welcome. Hi, Ibtisam, welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, are you?
I'm really good. I'm just waiting for...
Send. Just ask him.
Yeah. Just waiting for other experts to join in. Excuse me, panelist. We're just waiting on David Bedia. And if the sum is Hans joining the session?
Yes, Hans is joining.
Perfect.
He will be there in a couple of minutes, I guess.
Perfect. Just let's wait for David. Can you just change the name to your name, because it's my invite, so it shows my name. Yeah, David, can you just change the name, your name to, it is showing as my name. Can you just change it to yours, David Bedia? Yeah.
Okay, once again.
Because it was my invite in the last. All right, let's just wait for Hans to join and then we'll take over.
Okay.
Yoga, are we good?
Yeah, David is in. David is in.
Yes,
We're just
yes.
waiting for Hans Blender.
Okay, fine. So
all fine.
I'm in hall 2 now. Go.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Good
Thank
to
you.
go.
Thank you, Amol. Thank you.
Where I
I
can
will
change the name?
Yeah. Sorry.
Where I can change the name?
Probably there are 3 dots. Right. Settings. If you click at the 3 dots in the corner of your window,
Yeah, but this I don't
you
find
can
that.
edit or rename. Rename must be the last option.
At what time do we start? At half or?
It's like 4 minutes from now is the official time to start, so we still have time
Okay.
for Hans. Yeah. We just send the links 10-15 minutes in advance to sort out these issues.
Good.
Yeah. Craig, I understand you need to leave, so I'll try to end your questions pretty earlier than the rest.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Thanks, mate. Can we just know like where you all connecting from? I know Tony must be connecting from Seville.
Yeah.
Ibtisam, where are you connecting from?
Yeah, I'm connecting from Morocco.
That's great. And David?
Hello, sorry.
Where are you connecting from?
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
Craig from?
Liverpool, England.
Oh, right, Merseyside. All right, let's wait for Hans. Yes. So, hello, Hans. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. Top.
So, Hans, can you just please change your name to Hans because it's the same link as Prism? Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Where can I do that?
Probably the 3 dots in your
Yeah.
screen to the right.
Rename. Okay.
In your platform, don't worry, the name is not going to be visible, just for me to address. That's it.
Now, better?
Perfecto. Perfect.
I
Okay.
don't
Perfecto.
find it 3 points. huh?
It's fine, David. It's fine. It's all fine. It's okay. Akash, you can take down the thing and I'm just proceeding. All right. Welcome, everyone. So this is me, Yoga, taking over the panel for today. Before getting on to the session, I'll just do a recap of what has happened yesterday, day one. So day one, it was the plenary session where we discussed a lot of problems in the football industry, and then we moved towards how the opportunities. We saw a lot about the technology, from 5G information technology to more on the Indian football business, and then how we tend to address the fan engagement issues. This day started very well with basically CSR. We tend to understand how there's a social impact and community reach out programs which are happening in football, how they have been integrating community into football and football into the community. And we also literally saw how technology and tactics can play a better role in performances. So right now we are into the panel of youth developments. So where do I start? I start with Craig Davis. Yes, welcome, Davis. Davis is elite development coach at Steven Gerrard Football Academy. So he's a former coach at Liverpool, West Ham, and AFC Wimbledon. He's also a semi-professional football manager. So hi, Craig. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, thanks for having
Hi.
me. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have the other D. That's David Bedia. He's a UEFA Pro coach from Spain, connecting from Barcelona. So David has extensive experience with various European clubs and academies and football methodologies like Barcelona, Fenerbahce, and UV Almeria. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have a former Moroccan national team player and a former PSCB player, Ibtisam Boharat, who's right now the expert from Double Pass. Hi, Ibtisam.
Hi.
Hi. So next we have Hans van der Elst. He's a UEFA Pro coach as well, head of football academy at Double Pass. He was previously academy director and assistant manager at OH Leuven. Welcome, Hans. And lastly, we have my friend Tony Ortega. I fondly remember our time in 2018 in London in the La Liga meeting. So he's joining from Seville. He's right now the international development coordinator for Real Betis, a professional team from La Liga. And he's focused on strategic decisions and market research, combining commercial activities and sports development projects. So I welcome everyone to the panel. To start with, I'm just going to discuss from the player development aspect. My question is to Craig Davis. Craig, you work in Steven Gerrard Academy as an elite development coach. So how are former players' academies different from the regular academies of the existing ecosystems? And how do these academies leverage the brand value of a former player in various operational aspects of the academy?
Well, firstly, I mean, the level of football player we have at our academy, they come from your professional football clubs, from particularly within the northwest of England. So obviously Liverpool, Everton, Manchester City, and then your other professional clubs, Wigan's, Tranmere's. The list is endless in terms of the clubs that we've got a really good connection with. That's through development of players over the years, going into those clubs and being successful in securing contracts. So what we've done in terms of how their education, how they've been coached, how their background has come to where they end up with the Steven Gerrard Academy is we've tried to take snippets of each of those professional football clubs and try to implement those into our own academy. I wouldn't say that we're copying, but what we're doing is we're making the players that are coming from a professional football club environment and embedding themselves into our program, which is give or take as strong as a professional football club in the UK. I think what's important on that is the players are used to something daily a way of coaching, a way of living, a lifestyle within the football club, both as them as a player and them representing that club. And we want to mirror that as closely as possible, because I think the main outcome for us here is to develop them for the 16 to 19 age, and then hopefully try to push them back towards the professional ranks of which they've just come from. Our staff and experience of coaches and sort of the staff here have also been players professionally and semi-professionally. So we try to use our experience in those avenues to cater for those players that are coming into our ranks here at Steven Gerrard Academy. In terms of myself, I've obviously worked at Liverpool Football Club and utilised the way of coaching there, the life of a coach and player coming through the ranks at Liverpool, to implement that into our own programme here, naturally with Steven Gerrard coming through that football club himself. In terms of the outcomes and how we then try and, give them a platform to build, we have a global showcase, so similar to what we're doing now on the call. With everything going on the last 18 months, as you will all be aware of, it's been difficult, obviously, getting football coaches, managers, directors, managing directors, whatever their title is, over to the UK because of the travel restrictions. So what we did here last year was we had a global showcase where the UK-based coaches were able to travel within the parameters of the restrictions, and we showcased the players that we have available on our programs, both male and female. It gave the UK coaches a first eye look at the potential that we have within the program. But what we also did, and like as I said, we utilised Zoom, we utilised sort of footage, we utilised ways of using technology for the European, the South American, the world-based coaches to access and dial in and watch the games live, so they could have a not quite a real picture, but certainly a live game to see what potential our players have. We've also put together team sheets with their sort of CV on backgrounds on. So, for example, if a striker was doing really well, you would have their CV and the knowledge of where they've been, to try and complement where they may go in the future. If you're maybe a scout or a coach yourself at a professional club, you knew everything inside out, so that those players and on the day they knew who they were.
Yeah, it's really nice. Just a follow-up question on what you meant, especially on the active lifestyle part. You mentioned that the 16s and 18s would probably who have come from the professional academies as well. You try to maintain the professional aspect within the academy as well, in Steven Gerrard Academy. Now, what are the challenges with respect to maintaining this lifestyle so as to how it was probably 10-15 years back, where there was no digital or distractions? Now there seems to be a lot of distraction, especially in the social age. How do you actually manage the kids to have a good lifestyle of a professional lifestyle?
It's obviously difficult. I mean, everybody on the call will probably vouch for this, but you can only give them so much guidance and so much advice. I mean, ultimately, it is the person themselves who will be, eating the right things, drinking the right things, living and breathing their diet and lifestyle as a footballer. You only have to look at Cristiano Ronaldo at the age of 36. He's a phenomenon. The rawest athlete there probably is, and given his age, he could probably continue to his mid-40s. I think what we do here very well is as I say, with our professional background, and we're not a professional club via name, but the experiences that we've picked up via the staff, and whether it's playing or coaching, we've got a vast range of people here who know the game, the sport, the levels of detail that you have to go into from both on the pitch but off it. There's a big department here. Our sports science department is, in my opinion, better than some professional football clubs in the top end Premier League. The level of detail that we go into, the level of advice that we have. We also have, as I said earlier, a big connection of network that we can tap into, and we can utilise the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Everton, Manchester City, different football clubs that we know, friends of, and then they can come in and give even further information and advice. But I think ultimately we can only give so much. We can only advise. We can only push them along the right way. And as I say, it's down to that individual, the player. I think it also helps if, I mean, certainly we do here, that the staff that we have here, we mirror those expectations as well. So if we're asking players and students here to live a certain lifestyle, we have to do the same, because, you know, we have to practice what we preach. If we're asking a young person, a young player, to eat certain foods or drink certain or act in a certain way, we have to do that as staff. So it's something that we're really conscious of. We're the role models, essentially. So we have to live and breathe it ourselves. And then you see the players, they'll go, oh, actually, well, Craig's doing that, so if he's doing it, that's good enough for me or he or she. So yeah, we're the ones implementing it and living it ourselves.
Thanks, Craig. You've been brutally honest about the situation, and it's nice that you try to mirror what you're trying to preach. That's amazing. Hopefully, like all will be doing the same thing. Next, over to David. Hi, David. I just wanted to check with you. You have worked in the Europe in major clubs. You would have obviously tried to understand the scenarios in Asia and Africa from your colleagues who would have worked with you. Now, what do you think are the best practices adopted in Europe when it comes to youth development in comparison with Asia and Africa? And if you can like add up this question and finally like also touch upon how can developing ecosystems like Asia and Africa try and catch up Europe? Do you have any suggestions?
Well, when I moved to Turkey for the first time, and I came from Barcelona, and I was the director of the Academy of Barcelona in Istanbul, we should analyze what is the difference between that kind of education that they already have been doing with them and what we were doing in Barcelona with our players. In fact, the problem was that the principal thing or the focus that we put, it was in the education of the coaches, how the coaches understand the football, what they want to do, which kind of or prototype of the coaches you are using for the different ages of the players. Is not the same to make education for the player that he has 10, 8 years old, or the other one that they have 18 and they are really close to jump for the senior team. And then sometimes in that kind of countries of educations, they are using foreign players and with not big formation, and then in the end they were a great players, they play football amazing, but in the end when you want to transmit or when you want to follow the education or the system or the periodization during the years, and do you want to have a little bit passion with the player, then becomes a little bit difficult, you know, because sometimes they have his own target and they want to win. They want to they make competition between the coaches in the same club to see who is winning, who is not winning, and they criticize themselves. And then in the end, the problem is that you have to transmit them that this is not the important thing, you know, this is not the important thing to win or to make competition between them, you know. And sometimes the words that they are using or the attitude that they are having with the players is not always the good one. You know, we have to focus a lot in the words that they can use with the players and the feedbacks that they have to give to the players, and to understand what is the methodology that we wanted to implement, depending, of course, of the reality of the country. You know, also I worked in Japan, in Tokyo with youth players, and then the exercises or the rules with the players that you want to use in one part of the world is not the same in another one. You know, for the scenario, for the culture that the player has. You know, this is one. It's just a small piece that could be interesting for everybody. You know, it's when I was in Japan, and with the translator I say, okay, this is 3 players in the middle. They should stay here, you know, waiting for to play with all the players, like a neutral players. And these 3 players, they didn't even make one move. They didn't walk, you know, because the translators say stay here, and when you say to them stay here, they don't move. But if you say the same sentences in United States, for example, you cannot, they don't stop, you know, they follow everywhere. You have to follow this message many times. And then it's very important which kind of message you want to transmit to the players. You know, this is one of the biggest problems that, or the biggest focus that I put in the beginning was the education of the coaches, of course.
Amazing. So, I mean, I think it's a very strong message when it comes to youth development. Winning is not everything, and the focus should be a lot more on the transition of how the senior teams play and establishing the system to the youth. And I think the coaches need to be very strong in terms of what they actually convey to the youth, rather than trying to create too much of a competition feeling to the players, which could be detrimental. So I think you put it really nice, David. You want to add up on anything?
Well, in the end, there are many others for like facilities. You know, the facilities that they have. Some of them they are training at the same time in a natural grass for 5 hours a day, and then in the end it's not grass. It's just a mix of nothing. You know, because you cannot adapt the quality of the trainings that you want to do, and in the end also about the methodology of the training. You know, when you want to experiment with the players, or you want that they have feelings in the trainings, because in the end one of the most important points that for my time that I was working in the youth was to try to give to the players emotions. You know, when they are training, and you play a little bit with emotions, and then the players are much more happier, and they are much more open to learn. You know, because nowadays with all these competitors that we have, the coaches like PlayStations or this kind of other activities that the players they can do, we have to be really with a lot of optimization for the time that we have, you know, because in the end the players are at least they are training 1 hour and 1.5 hours every day, and we make a calculation how many hours in a regular youth age a player can play football in the club. This is about 5,500, you know, and then in the end it's not too much if you want to create a big player.
I think the second part of answer, you also touched upon how to manage the youth, the current youth, where there are so many distractions with the gaming and everything. It's really nice to put area on it. Next on this respect, I would love to ask Hans Wander. Hans, you are someone who have been able to establish a lot of development projects outside Europe. So it would be nice if you can highlight the entire process of initiating a talent development project from scratch in a new country, especially countries like Asia and Africa.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Shogarai. I have to, Mr. David, it's the first time we see each other, but all the things that you are saying are sounding very similar. I mean, we have just the same, and it's all about educating coaches with an eye on the specific culture, the environment, all the habits, etc., and try to move little by little and changing some things by inspiring them, not by saying from now on you have to do it this way. No, little by little by getting them aboard. So when you are asking what is our process, we have been working worldwide in maybe first of all we are doing assessments, auditing. We have education sessions online and on site, and we do co-creation consulting with clubs and with federations on site worldwide. And the difference, like David was saying, between being in Japan and being in Brazil, yeah, it's a total different world with one thing only connecting. It's the love and the passion for the ball. So that's a very nice thing. That's all connecting us. But again, the approach is totally different. What we are trying to do is to bring to inspire people in a club and in a league federation, and to build and to structure and to try to put things in frameworks. So we have we are based in Brussels, starting from the university, so doing a lot of scientific research and based on critical success factors coming out of the university on talent development. That's the starting point, those key dimensions. Then we have all the expertise doing it a lot of years in a lot of countries. And then what I was saying, adding some specificities to the specific countries, clubs, the culture, etc., globally, but also individually, and then looking into what's in a club in place, because a lot of clubs have a lot of things, and a lot of things that are formalized on paper but are not happening on the pitch, a lot of things and habits that are that you can see on the pitch but that are not formalized on paper. So we are trying to help them to really put a structured framework and inspire on different topics that we think are the critical success factors to set up a framework in talent development. And it goes from strategy, club and academy management, to football philosophy, on team development, methodology, on individual development, going to talent ID and recruitment, health and performance, player care, and all these different areas that you know. So maybe, Mr. Jogaray, in a nutshell, this is what we are, like other people here, are trying to do. And again, not to because it's football. And the nicest thing about it is that it's very subjective, because all over the world, there are a lot of passionate people who have different insights in football and in talent development. What we are doing or trying to do is to structure these things, put in a framework with an eye on, like I said before, the different insights, and try to inspire people and not to come somewhere. What was the last one? We were in Poland last week. Not to come in Poland and say, this is how you should do it. No. To talk with the people, to try to inspire the coaches, to try to put some challenges, to try to put some inspirations in the head of the coaches, and to bring maybe a talent development system scheme into their head. So they are not only about winning cups with the under-17s and going for a result over development and being very, very successful because they won a cup. No, it's about the talent development. But Mr. Jogaray, now you have to shut up me, because otherwise I keep on talking. Eh?
No. I mean, like, sometimes you get to listen to a lot of football romantics, and the way you are speaking, I was just like having a self-pity, because you told that you started from Brussels. I was in Brussels for a year doing my football business masters. I just a pity that I couldn't meet you there. Okay.
But when you do your second masters, you can join us.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Hans Bender. Thank you. So many nice concepts you established right from the process of just not putting systems on paper, but actually putting it to practice in the systems. So I'll come back to you on
maybe
this point.
Can I interrupt you? This is also key in what we see worldwide. That a lot of people, we were doing an analysis for FIFA in 130 countries all over the world. So with 3 clubs in depth and with 10 clubs online. What we have seen is that there are a lot of very good insights, things in a lot of countries, and also in Asia and Africa, like you were saying, but that it's to connect, to align throughout the academy, the age groups, and try to link it with the first team environment in the transition. It's key, because in a lot of clubs, it's different aisles first. And then secondly, also to try to what you have happening on the pitch, try to put it also on paper, and what you have on paper, try to translate it to the pitch, but those are not different worlds. So that's really key in what we are doing, Ms. Ipti.
Yeah, I'm just coming to Hans on this point again later. For now, I'm switching over to Tony, a good friend, Tony. I just wanted to touch upon a few stats. Maybe I'll check with Tony, like, how do you feel about it? It says that Legends case total estimated annual youth development budget for European top division clubs in 2020 is 870 million. And investment by European top division clubs in training facilities over the last 5 years is more than 1 billion. I just want to understand, like, is there a substantial investment from professional clubs into youth development? Can you give us a rough estimate of yearly investments that actually go into youth development from a club perspective?
Yes, I mean, as data shows, is a really important part of our development as a club, and it's not only in our side, also as you say, most of the top European clubs. For us, academy development is key, and is a basic approach for our growth as a club. We don't really have a rough estimation of a yearly investment, because we have, of course, the cost and maintenance cost of the academy, where we have all the maintenance of the training ground, the salaries of the coaches, all the software that we have. But every year we are investing into different improvements. 2 years ago, we adapted and increased our training academy. We're giving our players and our coaches more tools and more developments every year. We actually are in one of our biggest projects in the last few years, which is building a new training ground that we actually are already started to put in next month at the beginning of October. And also we got support by the European Union because it's going to be one of the most sustainable training academies in the world, where we are going to focus a lot on it's going to be basically zero emissions academy, where we're going to use all renewable energy to maintain it. And we will have there one of the main core projects is to have a residence where we have our players can be living there. They can have the education. Of course, we are already doing that, but we want to have them all really close. And we have now divided into different buildings because of our capacity. So, at the end, it all sums up into investments are key and they are necessary for a club to grow. And at the end, another important part that coaches will always agree on that is that you have to give opportunities to players. So this year, due to the situation where we play 3 competitions and we are, it's our first time after 3 years that we're playing 3 competitions, we did a little bit longer squad than we're used to. But still, we have 5 academy players in our first team. But the last few years, we tended to have a really rather small squad because our focus was to promote players from the second team and from the academy. We had around 21, 22 players on the first team squad. So we left room for the players to promote. So it's not only investing, it's not only giving them resources, it's also believing in that key growth driver for the club.
All right. I think good luck to your sustainable training academy which you're trying to do, and hopefully a lot of players come to the BT academy. Thanks on that, Tony. I'll come back to you on another issue. Right now, I just want to touch upon the talent identification part. I just want to focus a bit more on women's football as well. The legend states 76% of the clubs with the women's team uses the same facility as the men's team. This particular stat is quite intriguing to me. So I just want to understand the basic. So my question is to you, Ibtisam. As a former national player for a national team and also playing in Holland, how does talent identification in women's football is different from that in men's football? Is it actually different? Can you talk about the various parameters where there is actually a difference?
Yep, thank you. Yeah, with pleasure. Yeah, of course, I feel it's a very interesting topic and a broad topic where we can speak quite a lot and long about it. But yeah, I'm going to try to summarize it a bit and build a little bit further on what Hans just talked about and the talent development framework that we have within Double Pass. We have worked a lot on women's football the past years, and we had the opportunity, of course, with the FIFA project that Hans was referring to. Yeah, we have had the opportunity to work a lot with different women's football clubs, girls football clubs from all around the world. There were some interesting facts that we have discovered, that we've seen, and that we have learned a bit. When we look at the question step by step, I think the first thing I'm going to start with is with the physical aspect. So a boy is not a girl. That's for sure. A man is not a woman. That's also for sure. So starting with the physical side of things, we feel that the most important thing to take into account is their development when they go from being a boy to a man and going from being a girl to a woman. Where we see that peak high velocity age is let's say around 11 and 13 for the boys. We will see that growth for the girls is between 9 and 11. So that's an interesting and an important difference. Let's say it's a significant difference that can slow down some girls in their development if, for example, they play with boys, and if coaches are not aware of their development stages of girls. That timing is important when considering their development phases and their curriculum. So one of the biggest or the most important aspects for us is really that physical aspect. Going a little bit further, when looking technically, I think that technically a boy and a girl, yeah, don't really differ. What a boy can do with the ball at the age of I don't know, 10, 11, 12, I'm pretty sure that a girl can do it too. I think the biggest difference in here will be that generally girls start to play later. Start playing football later. They have less opportunities to start playing football. It's more difficult for them to enter that football world than for boys. So technically, it's not about their capabilities, but it's more about their opportunities to play. And I think especially in countries as Asia and Africa. Looking at tactically, for us there are no differences on the tactical side of football. How you will teach tactics and how you would want to execute on the field will not be different between the boys and the girls. Of course, the physical parameters will have an impact on the tactical side of the game. And I think as a last aspect, the mental aspect, to finish up, looking at the psychological differences between boys and girls, this is also to take into account. So, and especially in the coaching approach, there will be a difference right here. Taking into account that the psychosocial aspects of girls, for example, they are more sensitive. They give more importance to the social interactions of the group. They have less self-esteem and so on. So being a coach for the girls will have an impact. It will be different if you coach a group of girls or a group of boys. So yeah, a bit resuming for the 4 aspects. This would be my answer.
First of all, many thanks, Ibtisam, for actually going to quite a bit of deep and explain it different aspect wise. Just a follow-up question, but not exactly into youth, just because you are a former player and women's football is fast changing. How do you think the world sees women's football right now? And where is it lacking, or like is it actually growing in a very good pace? And do you see great opportunities for women's football?
Yeah, well, I think it's you can see it in 2 aspects. I think in Europe, for example, the train has left, so it's going and it's taking some speed. But on the other hand, there are some continents, some countries that hadn't had the chance to jump on that train. And I think that in the years that will come, we'll see more and more differences between the different continents and the different parts of the world. Regarding women's football, and yeah, for me it's time to wake up, let's say, for those who haven't yet think about women's football or their development, and it's time to go forward with it.
All right, thanks Ibtisam. I'll come back to you with some other topic. Craig, I just want to come back to the part where like the emphasis of the amount of work or efforts that go into actually football academy. So there's a stat which says European top division clubs averagely dedicate about 5 to 7 full-time technical coaches on youth development coaching. So one football technical coach takes about 40 hours per week. So that's roughly around 280 hours per week for the total football coaching. Is it kind of the same in your kind of academies? Why I'm asking is like for the general development of football, I think with the academies of professional clubs, I think it is more and more nice if there are more professional academies outside of the professional clubs. What do you do differently from the professional clubs, or is it something you try to mirror what is done in the professional clubs as well? So I just want to understand how your experience as a former academic coach in a former team helps you to leverage all these aspects and do it at your current capacity.
Well, naturally we want to try and have the same amount of hours that you would with the same age range that we work with. So typically we're in the 16 to 19 age group. So if you try to mirror that of a professional football club, that would be a full-time professional. So the typical lifestyle of a UK-based footballer here is they go to training of a morning. It's probably the same most countries as well, and unless you're doing sessions in the afternoons of your daytime. And it's typically your 2 to 3 hours generally with your training sessions. It's then broken up into your individualised work, which is a big one in terms of your youth development. We want to try and my experience as a coach in the YBP phase has all been how much can we benefit the individual. I think Hans mentioned it before about trying to win games and trophies, and that's all well and good and great, but it's how much time are we dedicating to the individual, because as we all know, we can't produce a team of footballers. You've got to produce individuals to go into the first team. So we try to mirror that typical professional football lifestyle where it's 2 to 3 training hours per day. Typically over in our system at Stephen Gerrard Academy, we have a Wednesday competitive fixture. And then we utilise the Thursdays, shall we say, for a recovery type session. Again, the latter end of the week is based on your analysis. So we implement the footage that we've been able to capture and go through it from the 4 corners that we spoke about before. So we've looked at the technical aspect, the tactical. We've also left the footage with the audio on, so we can see if the social aspects are coming out as well. Because I think it's quite easy just to film a game and see from the technical and tactical aspects of have we set up well, have we done this well, have we done this incorrectly. So I think it's important. I mean, sometimes there's obviously some colourful language on there that you don't want to hear, but I think from a social aspect, it's big to see if we can actually hear the players communicating, because lo and behold, some particularly in the age range that we work in, some young people still can't talk to one another. And it goes back to the point of the PlayStations, the Xboxes, the social world that we live in at the moment. People are able to talk via a phone on social media, but direct conversation still seems to be an issue. So we try to mirror as much as we can. We try to, I don't want to say the word copy, but we try to implement what professional football clubs are doing in the area. Because as I say, our role with our players is to showcase them that they can go back into those environments. So if we're in an environment ourselves, that makes the player at ease. And it also implements, the lifestyle in which they're trying to get back into. So we're close as we can with a professional football club's typical Monday to Friday, minus their weekend fixture.
Yeah, all right. But I think the striking difference which we said was like basically a professional academy of a professional club prepares players to make it to the senior team, and probably an academy like yours is more focused to develop individualistic players who can make it at the scenes. I think it was the striking difference. Apart from that, you're trying to maintain similar schema, like similar procedures. So that's really nice to know. And Craig, you can just leave if you want. I know you requested. So thanks for having me with, and I look forward to seeing you in a different capacity. Thank you.
Thanks for everyone. Thank you. Good to speak to you.
And next, of course, I just want to discuss about revenue and sustainability. So I'm going back to Tony. Yes, Tony. I just wanted to check with you, are the international youth development franchises which clubs have, a lot of clubs do have, I know certain La Liga clubs also have. So are the international youth development franchises of the clubs seen as pure business models, or if there actually any actual pathway for professional football from talents from these franchises of international areas?
I mean, I think they're neither one. They're not pure business models. Of course, they bring in some revenue, especially larger clubs. I mean, I think David mentioned he worked for the Barca Academy, clubs such as Barca, Arsenal, Celtic, like big clubs they've been working for a long time. They get a certain revenue from it, but at the end, the revenue you get from those franchises are not the purest basic that you need to survive. So it's a small amount. So our focus is more on having more of a presence in that market, and also sharing our methodology work with the local markets that we have right now. So it's not like going there, getting money, living. It's a little bit the same that colleagues here are mentioning. Where we go, we cooperate with the local. We usually partner with a local academy already running. We share our methodology with them. Our coaches are being sent there. There's some cooperation and exchange of information. So at the end, the essence is more in that direction rather than revenue model, or even like on the professional side. Of course, if there is a player, outstanding player, one of those academies, we never close any door, of course, but that's not the main purpose either. We're not there to go to, let's say, India and work on an academy to find talent. If the talent appears, of course, it's more than welcome. But our idea is there to help develop football in that area and share our methodology experience and work in the different areas and international parts of the world with this local academy.
Yes, I mean, it's quite intriguing because it's somewhere in the between. It's not entirely business. It's not entirely something which is complete professional development of players. I wish like a lot of Asian players can make it to Europe as well. I know like a lot of clubs have been trying to make get Indian players from India to Asia, sorry, Europe as well. Hopefully some success soon. Okay, on this aspect, thanks, Tony. I'll come back to you. Hans, we were talking actually about trying to establish systems from the scratch. Based on your experience, I know Double Pass is also working in countries like India. Based on your experiences, starting a complete project from the scratch, not in your home situation, but in a different country with the challenges, in the local challenges, both in terms of talent development, as well as establishing the structure to develop a project. What are the challenges that you actually undergo as an organization to develop these projects?
Yeah, there are, like everybody knows, quite a few. When you give the example of India, we have been installing like we call development leagues there in the province of Bangalore, where, for instance, when you want to talk about installing a talent development system, yeah, first of all, you have to try to get the players a little bit together and to give them the opportunity to play in an okay level, in okay circumstances, and etc. So this is the first thing to start, and that depends. In other countries, obviously India is a specific case where there are a lot of players who are very interested in playing, but who don't have the ability and the possibility to be in a club. So then you start with really the basis, trying to arrange that one. In other countries, obviously, where there are a lot of clubs and talent development centers, it's like I told before, it's to go there, to get to know the people with a lot of respect, again, for what's already in place. Because I've been working, and as a company, we've been working, I can say it, in Flamengo and in Internacional, two big clubs in Brazil. But we, as an international company, and also as Belgians, how could we go to Brazil to learn them how to develop players? Because they have the biggest talents of the world. But it's all loose. It's all, there is a lot without structure. There is give you an example. I was in a club there and they had under 17, 56 players under contract. 56 players. The first thing that you can do there is talk with the management and say, maybe it's better to focus on quality instead of quantity. So to really try to do that. So maybe little things like that could bring an outside-in approach. And they how can I say, maybe sometimes they listen better to people like us who have international experience instead of their own people inside of a club who are trying to change things. So when you look to this example that I gave from India, it's specifically basis trying to get players into leagues to play, to enjoy themselves and try to play football. In another way, it's like in the club in Brazil, it's just looking into to try to develop and to try to set a structure and a system in the best way to focus on quality and not on quantity. So yeah, I think like the other people here present can give a lot of examples like that. So it's really specific. But I repeat myself, the overall is always there to end letting young players enjoy themselves in doing what they like to do and develop them in the best way. And like that has been told before, in talent development systems that are based on individual development, because we are trying to develop players in an individual way within the team, of course, to go to a first team or professional environment. That's clear. And it's also a different focus than there is in a lot of teams all over the world. So Is that maybe a little bit an answer on your question?
Yeah. And to be honest, I was really surprised to note so many number of youth players having the first team contracts. Whereas you look at the other side of the world, like the first team players of the top leagues are still contracted only for a year or so. So it's really parities in world football which exists. And I'm sure like you as an organization which is advising players on youth development or like clubs on youth development, you should be having different experiences. It's nice that you also touched upon the point which David mentioned, which is like emotionally understanding the players. I still want to come back to you, David, during your experiences. Even Craig was also mentioning the distractions they have in the current times. Can you just talk about, like, for example, a week, how many hours a youth guy will be exposed to training, and how many hours will be is the relaxation in a professional setup?
Well, we made a study how many hours could be a talented producer, because in the end, we are talking in every place in the world, but one of the important things for me is to know what it means talent. And when you make that question in different parts of the world, everyone is making a different definition for that, And if we put one of the simple ones is the speed of learning, and you want to adapt like this, it's okay. And in the end, you have distractions like we talked before, like these PlayStations or Xbox or these kind of things. But in the end, when you are training or when the players is in the club, you have to give 100% optimization of the training time, because if not, I remember when I became a football player also, but before, when I was young, I finished the school and I was in the street between the cars playing football all the days, and then maybe in one day I can play for 4 hours. But nowadays, if they are training 1.5 hours a day, it will be a really optimistical option, because I remember when in the beginning when I arrived to Turkey, I was analyzing not only the club that it was Antalya Sport, also the clubs around, and I was filming trainings from different clubs around Antalya Sport, and I see how many times they can lose between the drills, for example, and one of the times was 7 minutes. They were looking tips, they were looking at a goal, they were looking for the balls, they were looking for another place for another part of the field, and then in the end, this 7 minutes is time that you are losing. It's time that you don't have, And then in the end, the distractions that the players are having is so big. Nowadays they have very big kind of distractions.
Yeah.
You are meaning that kind of distractions, or you are meaning, for example,
I just meant these kind of distractions. Yes.
Well, one of the points that, for example, that I faced in Turkey was the family. The distraction of the family, that the environment that the player had, what they were talking. And I have the both sides. I was the director of the academy and also was the head coach of the first team. And then it means in the both sides, you have the same scenario and different perspectives. When you are in the academy, you say that this player is allowed to be in the first team, that he has to go there for training, the head coach should see him, and then you are pushing a little bit to him. And then the head of the place becomes to be bigger, because the family is saying, you are amazing, you are a great player, you will buy me a house, you will buy me a car, you will buy for all the family, they will buy everything. And then when you are in the other side, okay, this player has the head like this also, so big, and you have to reduce a little bit the head, because if not, he is starting to believe something, and he has these attitudes in the training, and then when arrives on Sunday, the match day, you need to win, because you are the head coach, you are there to win, not to produce players. If you are a club that after you want to sell the players, okay, it's another perspective. But if you are a club that you are fighting for champion in the league, wherever you are, then you are seeing the same scenario for a different point of view.
I think it's a bit of a masterclass this session with all these excellent insights. For example, just the way you mentioned how same person who is working on the side of academy to the sub person which is working on the side of the professional team as a first coach. Differences to how the same person has to manage the athlete in a different way. It's amazing insights. I just want to last touch upon this aspect. Maybe Prism can probably check this out. I just want to touch upon with the recent advancement of technology and a lot of innovative sports tech solutions. What are the ways this technology actually play a very important role in helping the youth?
Yeah, are you asking me this especially around women's football? No, just in general.
Just in general football, yeah.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah, well, I think that it's a step forward for football and for youth development, because there are some interesting facts or parts that we can take from those analyses and from this technology. Not everything is that useful as we might think, but I'm definitely sure that it has helped players going forward. It has helped clubs, sorry, and not only in youth development but afterwards too. So I'm kind of pro technology, let's say, in football, as long as we still use our brains to think how we use it, how do we use it, and what impact will it have on our players, and what outcome, and what do we do with that outcome.
Yeah, I'm pretty glad you put the human factor to the one who's managing technology. Of course, with technology and data, there's going to be a lot of information, which of course we need to make sure that we require the right data sets, which is actually going to help us. So I think we come to the end of the panel. I think it was an exciting panel, starting from Craig. He mentioned on how he manages an academy professionally outside of a professional club, to David Pedia on his experiences in Turkey and Spain. What are the differences of managing the youth? And then we went to Hans and we understood how he's operating and consulting clubs and organizations along with Ipsum from Double Pass, how they do it. And I of course, they got a lot of insights with Tony as well from the sustainability, the revenue, and in terms of the actual investment that goes into youth from a top professional club. It was an exciting panel, and I hope to join you in some time in different capacities. Thanks everyone for joining, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Nice
much.
to have us.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. All the best. Bye-bye.